they're not going to investigate. We're going to do the investigations. I'm going to go ahead and point out the flaw in their logic. So I'm going to share a video with you guys, and I want you to see, like, help me, like, make it make sense. If there was no time, if the fire spread so fast, if everything was just happening so quick, then why was there enough time for a police force to go out, to be ordered to go out and block off all the streets, to corral people to Front Street, which the locals know, including the police department, that Front Street is right there on the ocean. So there's the small little town, the little walkway, and then there's the street, and then there's the ocean. There is nowhere else to go. So to block off Front Street after blocking off all the surrounding streets and not letting people evacuate, and then you have time to do all this, but not send out text messages, get on a blowhorn, a loudspeaker, drive around warning people, notifying them, letting them know, maybe as much as possible, like trying to evacuate people. And also, if there's enough time to do that, why was there not enough time to, like, send out some firefighters? It's because the firefighters were sent somewhere else. They were not on the west side.
I mean, if you really think about it, or just think about it at all, she makes a great point. These people were basically corralled to an area where they would not be able to escape. They were sent to an area where their backs would be against the wall. On one side, you have these raging fires. On the other side, you have the raging ocean, because keep in mind, there was like hurricane force winds. The winds were over 80 miles per hour. This was not a calm ocean that day. So they were risking their lives by going in the ocean in the first place. And it's not like you could just take one step, step 1 foot on the beach or step 1 foot into the water or into the sand and then you're safe. No. There's smoke all over the area. There's embers and flames flying throughout the air. It's very hard to breathe. And then you're forced to go out in the middle of the ocean because you have to go pretty far to try to get away from the smoke. But even when you're out further than, you can stand, there's still smoke out there. So it's very dangerous. You have the smoke right here coming in the air, and it's not like you can get low and get away from it because you can't breathe the air, and obviously you can't breathe underwater. And then you have the risk of people passing out from breathing in all of this smoke, and if they pass out, they're in the water, they're going to drown. It's a terrible situation, not to mention in all of this chaos, I'm sure people got bumps, cuts, and bruises. People may be bleeding out there in the middle of the water, attracting sharks. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong here. So why were all of these people stopped from escaping the area, and why were they all redirected to a place where they would have literally nowhere to go but in the middle of the ocean? It's insane to think about. And I know that there are all of these theories and stuff floating online about what happened here. And listen, people, I'm all for the theories, but there's some things that we can't prove. You know what I mean? And instead of focusing on those things, I think we need to focus on the things that are easily provable. Because regardless of how these flames started, what's happening now after these flames, after the fire, it's totally unacceptable. These outlets that are supposed to go down there and help these people, FEMA, the Red Cross, you name it, I can confirm that they are actively blocking supplies from reaching the survivors. Okay, there are trucks filled with pallets of food, water, and medicine that are just being blocked from traveling into the area, bringing supplies to these locals. Donations and stuff, they're not going to these locals. It's insane to really see what's happening down there. And a lot of people are speaking out, and the community has come together. They've tried to figure out ways, and they're forming ways to go around these checkpoints and to bring people food and water. They're trying to stall the people out in this area. They're basically trying to make things as bad as possible. They're trying to stop any supplies from going into the area so these people eventually leave, and then they're going to take over the land. They're going to take over the spots where these people's homes used to be. That's basically the plan right now. So instead of making things easier for these folks or making things better, making the living conditions better, they're purposely making it worse, trying to stall these people out so they get desperate. They start accepting these offers for, these lowball offers on their homes. They start, going elsewhere, maybe establishing their lives elsewhere. It's horrible to think about, because these people who are there supposedly to help, they're acting as basically a military blockade to block any help from getting to these people. So if you want to help any of these people in the area, you can't do it by the road. You have to hop on a boat or a jet ski and hope that you get around their other defenses, because they're literally blocking off this area. They're blocking it off to media, and they're blocking it off to anyone trying to help people in the area. But I want you all to hear a firsthand account from someone who's in the middle of all of this, trying to help people. It is a crazy story, and I really just want you all to see this and hear it from the people who are living through this experience, because I know that when you hear me talk about these things, it's better for you to see it with your own eyes and hear it from people who are actually down there. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this clip.
My name is Chris Benka, born and raised on Molokai. The night of the fire, I was watching the news and saw a lot of footage. And it wasn't until the internet footage started coming in at about 1 o'clock in the morning that I saw people basically jumping in the water, running away from the fires. I thought to myself that I've got a lot of good friends and family that live there, and some of them live on the boats. I couldn't sleep the whole night. The next morning I woke up, I told my wife, I gotta go. I packed up and I head out. I got some supplies, whatever I could grab, water, food. I headed over there to help with whatever was gonna go on. And when I showed up, it was horrific. It was terrifying. It put me back. I sat down, I cried for a while. When I pulled up, the town was still on fire. The response from the state, DLNR, was non-present in the water. My first priority was to get there and help with whatever I could help with. My second priority, I put out on the internet that if there were any families in need of getting off Maui and coming back to Molokai, I set a date and time and place, and you meet me there, I'll get you home. The people that I did bring home said that they had a hard time with the internet, so my message wasn't received by all. The second day, I told my wife, put out the word, I'm coming back again. And this time I was gonna go outside of the zone to Oluwalu's, where they had set up the roadblock, and bring people back from there. And when I got there that day, I brought home a few people, and I took back a few tourists to their hotels. They were trapped, they couldn't get back in. They wanted to go home because a lot of the hotels in Wailea were gouging. They were paying like $700 a night. This guy was so cool that he took in 2 families with him. He put 9 people in the room with him. I had no problem taking him back to his hotel, getting him going. I also took in supplies for people. What I couldn't understand is that why did we have to bring supplies with the boats? Why did we have to transport supplies from Ma'alaya to Kahana by boat when everything was on trucks waiting at the roadblock to get in? When we delivered the next day, that night, I get a call from my friend Kamaili Alkan. He tells me he's got 9 pallets of food to go to the Kahana. So we took over 9 pallets of food, water, supplies. Where was the county? Where was the state? Where was the Red Cross? There was no aid for the people there. First day, second day, third day, nobody shows up. I'm still running supplies in. By the 4th day, they open up the road. I come home, I say, great. And at the same time, they shut the road down again, stopping supplies from coming in. I heard a story about a person that they loaded up the containers, and containers of food and supplies did reach Lahaina by the 2nd day, I think it was. But somehow, the Red Cross put a stop on it. So the containers were just sitting there at a hotel in Ka'anapali. The guy who found out put it out on the internet and told the people there, hey, you suffering, go get it. Don't wait, go get it. So I guess that's how some of the looting started, but it's understandable. Molokai, we're all about action. More action, less words. Politicians, more about words than action. Sometimes too much education, you lose common sense along the way. And it's true. Common sense tell you at the roadblock, cars showing up, trucks showing up, loaded down with supplies. Common sense tell you, let them through. Give them an escort, let them through. But nope, they stopped everything, bruh. So for 4 days, bruh, no food, no water, no supplies, no help. All they wanted you to do was leave. But as you know, in disaster areas, when they come in and they want you to leave, you go to a shelter. FEMA, Red Cross comes in, helps you, gives you money, and you move on. People never return back. So a lot of the Hawaiians don't want to leave, bro. They don't want to leave. They know what's going to happen. Big money, real estate, going to come in, offer them money. They'll never come back. Some days I did up to 2 boat trips, but most of them I just stayed there and helped along the way, shuttling food and supplies from Ma'alaya, where they had the roadblock, into Kahana, into the danger zone. Yes, it was all out of my own pocket. I'm not even worried about being paid back or anything. I'll go as long as I could. And then my wife I put it out there that, you know, I can do more if people help me with gas. And a lot of people started donating money for gas. And some people from the mainland, I never even know, just donated. So that was awesome. It was local people with family and friends in Lahaina that banded together. Kamaili Alkan, the Mana'e boys. Big shout out to the Mana'e boys, bro. We seen Friendly Market donate. Everybody just pulled together because a lot of friends and family, all in Lahaina. All I want to say about donations, if you guys want to donate, don't donate to the Red Cross. Don't donate to organizations out there that think they're going to help. Donate to the local people there. There are people there that are starting their own shelters and taking care of the people there. If you want to see your money go to the people of Lahaina, the Hawaiians, the locals, and not to some politician's pocket, donate to the grassroots foundations of Lahaina.
So yeah, like I was saying, we could focus on all of these conspiracy theories that are floating online, some of which are probably true, some of which are fake. We could talk about lasers from outer space and all of that good stuff, or we could focus on things that we can easily prove. And we can easily prove that people were blocked from escaping the island. And we can easily prove that supplies and first aid and all of this stuff is being blocked from reaching their survivors. And there's no way that you can make that make sense, okay? Period. It's very obvious that they want these people out of the area for good. It seems kind of obvious to me at this point that these people were failed by their government, by their local government, every step of the way. They were failed by law enforcement. They were failed by the fire department. They were failed by first responders. They're being failed by the efforts that are put into place now that are supposedly supposed to help them. It seems like there were various decisions made that made this situation, that made these fires worse than what they had to be. You know, people were sleeping in their beds. I think an alarm, a siren going off, I think that would have helped alert them to the fact that they were in danger's way. People who were up and in their vehicles ready to escape weren't allowed to. They cut off the water so they couldn't fight the fires themselves. And then they sent everybody to an area where they would either have to die in a fire or possibly drown and breathe in the smoke while in the middle of the ocean. That's the reality of the situation. And it's going to get much worse as the death toll rises and we get more and more information from out the area. My heart breaks for these people, but I'm not surprised by what we're seeing. And I hope that more and more people start to pay attention and they start to wake up. Because every disaster that happens, we're starting to witness the response to these disasters, and the response is always very questionable, and there's always mystery surrounding these disasters. So I just hope that more people are waking up and paying attention. But for now, drop your thoughts below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.